Welcome to the Resilient Woman Leadership Podcast, where professionally minded women explore the art of grounding into the powerful foundation that makes us resilient leaders in business and in life. I'm your host, Kathryn Regganie, and I believe that when we women connect deeply with our truest selves, we can collectively shift our leadership culture towards compassion, cohesion, and true creativity. Hello and welcome. Today I am really excited to introduce Sophie Zollmann. She is the owner and CEO of Sophie Zo Next Level Business Support. As a digital marketing wizard who specializes in elevating businesses to the next level of success, she leads an intrepid team of marketing experts as they create and implement marketing strategies and solutions that save time and increase revenue. She is a pioneer of the full-service team support model, offering business owners a full-service marketing team that can hit the ground running and propel companies to 1 million in revenue and beyond. Sophie is also a best-selling author and speaker. In her chapter of the book, Women Gone Wild, The Feminine Guide to Fearless Living, the Intuition Edition, is called My Intuition Leads, and she'll be sharing much more of that with us today. Welcome, Sophie, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and talk all things intuition and marketing and success and all of those things, because they all go together.
And they certainly do. And I'm really excited about the conversation too, because I think intuition is such an important topic when we are talking about leadership and making some interesting decisions for ourselves. And I know you've got a great story to tell. So I'm really looking forward to how does intuition fit in all of this stuff. So Sophie, can you tell me a little bit about how you got here and how you used your intuition to get you where you are today?
Absolutely. I mean, I started out 23 years ago as a stay-at-home mom who needed to work to make money, but not have it all go to daycare. So I jumped into the online world way back then. I got a remote job long before that was a thing, and spent 4 years working for an e-commerce company, ending up managing it for managing the $500,000 company for a whopping $12 an hour. I knew that something was wrong with that picture even back then, before I was really tapped into my intuition. I was burned out and fried, and I was like, I can't do this. And he wouldn't give me a raise or anything. So I left and became a stay-at-home mom again. Granted, that lasted a whole 8 months because then the house fell apart. And so I got into transcription, and that's where I met my clients of today. I was transcribing teleseminars for the online coaches, consultants, strategists, the people that I love working for now. And I was like, I want to be a VA again. I'm going to launch myself as a virtual assistant at an appropriate price point and get this going again. And I did, and I got on social media, and this whole time I was just letting things happen, so to speak. I didn't have any business plans. I didn't have any, numbers or anything. I was just going with the flow, going with my intuition, but not realizing that's what I was doing at the time. And I spent 6 months on social media and had other virtual assistants hire me as a subcontractor. And that's when the business was born. Back then it was called Sophie Zo Virtually There For You. And it was a virtual assistant business. And I worked that business, and I would sit there and go, I want to do this in my business. I don't want to do this in my business, because I actually started thinking about it now that I had a business. And, right. And let me tell you, when you start thinking too much, you can ignore your intuition, and then your intuition will come back around and bite you. And it started out small and easy, meaning I'd sit there and say, okay, I want to do this in my business. I don't want to do this in my business. And then the things that I said I don't want to do in my business, the opportunity to do that would magically drop in my lap and
Yeah.
basically say, yeah, you need to do this in your business. And back then I was like, okay, fine. And so I would go with it. And because again, I was going with the flow, thinking about it and then getting back to going in the flow. And my business flourished and grew. I got certifications. Did all these things, and I got up to a point where I wanted to make six figures. And I had just barely missed it for a couple of years. And finally, I got an opportunity to work for a longtime client exclusively for six figures. And in my head, I'm going, oh, finally, I have arrived. Here it is. I have a remote job, so to speak, making six figures. I can focus on one client, one thing, da 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 da. And this is going to be great. And then in the background, the intuition was going, wait a minute. Have you really thought this through? Are you sure this is the right decision? And I'm, of course, like, yes, of course. Because in my head, I'm like, I've hit the goal of six figures. That's all that matters. This is going to be great. Well, as that year rolled on, the intuition and the voice in my gut started just really gnawing at me. And I was like, you know what? This isn't enough. Not that it's a wrong decision, but this isn't enough. I want to be able to do more, serve more, make more money. And I'm not going to be able to do it in this singular role. So by the end of that year, I intuitively put together a business model for a digital marketing agency to be a second income stream for my business, to build a team of people to do the work so that I was just leading it and I could do both. Well, as I soft launched that second revenue stream at the end of that year, a mere not even 2 weeks later, that exclusive client let me go. The baseball bat went a swinging. The universe let me know that was not the right decision in any way, shape, or form. It wasn't just about having other revenue streams. It was like, this one is not for you. If you don't let this go, these other things can't happen. Because I was all consumed by that role, I really didn't have the time to even attempt to build this agency. And so that is 2019. And along the way, I went with the flow. I went with coaches and consultants and guidance and all these things. But I lived a lot in my head, making decisions based on my head, not my heart, not my soul, not my intuition. And it finally came around, a few years later that I still wasn't in the right space, not quite. And I was still working with coaches and people helping me try to figure it out. And I was trying to use intuition. I was trying to use law of attraction and manifestation and all of those things. But I realized, looking back, I realized I still was too much in my head, making decisions based on facts and figures and guidance from others. And it wasn't until I really tapped into my intuition and let it lead me that, I could get success. Because once I got that digital marketing agency going and off the ground, through the help of all the factors, my husband, my coach and mentor, and my daughter-in-law, I managed to not only build that business up to six figures in a matter of 15 months, something I hadn't done in 9 years prior to that. It took me 9 years to get to it. I rebuilt it to six figures. And by continuing to tap into the flow, the ebb, all the aspects of the decision-making that are heart, body, mind, soul, intuition, data, numbers, advice, I managed to hit multiple six figures a year later and have maintained it pretty much every year since. And the more I realized that it's not just about numbers. It's not just about data. It's not just about what you think will work or what you think you want to do. You got to know what you want to do. And that comes from your soul, your intuition, whatever it is that whatever spiritual path you're on, whatever that is, your intuition, your gut is there. You're born with it. Doesn't matter who you are, male, female, whatever. Everybody is born with intuition. And as children, it's wide open and we follow it and we go with it. And it's, then our nurturing and our environment and our raising and society and all the norms that we get into squash it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you squash your intuition for all the other environmental external things and influences, it really does affect your success in life and business, because it's a life and business thing. And when you're
Right.
really tapped into all of that and really acknowledging it and accepting it and considering it in your decision-making process, figuring out what you want to do, and then allowing it to guide you and bring the how of what you want to do into the picture, things go much more smoothly. There is more success involved, and you enjoy what you're doing. You're not miserable in a job or a business that you don't love because you made a decision from the neck up, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that perspective because I talk a lot about getting in touch with yourself, because this body, this meat suit that we live in, has so much information, so much intelligence within it. And I love how you're bringing in the body, the whole soul perspective, that perspective of you. The answer is there if you're willing to tap into it. And in today's society, we're so outward facing, with social media and the news and our jobs, everything is so outside of us that we forget and we're not trained to really tune into what is it that Sophie wants, or what does Kathryn want, or what does, somebody else really, really want in their soul. I I I lead by intuition as well, because I've experienced some of what you're talking about. You end up in the wrong role and you're like, wait a minute, how did I even end up here? Or the other thing that I've seen too, and it sounds like this might be kind of your path too, it's not that it's a wrong role, it's just you've grown out of it.
Absolutely.
And so what's next?
Absolutely. Because we're always, and that's the thing, is we're always growing and evolving and changing and learning. And if we stay where we're at in something that is no longer in tune with us, we're denying that growth, that evolution, that change that can be so much more freeing. And because, especially when you're a business owner, you didn't start your business to have another job and just work yourself to death because you're doing all the things from that business mental perspective and not letting things flow and come to you to understand there's more. Yeah. So many people get stuck in a rut because they're only doing the mental piece of it, the brain side of things. And they don't even understand that misery or that less than happy feeling they have with what they're doing is really their gut saying, hey, hello, you need to rethink this.
Yeah.
Take a step back, breathe, tap into everything, your entire being, the universe, God, goddess, whatever it is, and let it flow and let it show you what's possible and let it show you the path to what's possible, to follow your dreams, your passions, your desires, to do what you want. Because wanting something is what gets you there. Because if you make it a need, something you need, you've got to have, you're immediately constricting it. You're immediately pulling your intuition out of it and going, nope, I'm not going to listen to you because I need this. I have to have this. And that's when your brain kicks in and goes, all right, we're going to hustle, grind, and we're going to do this. And we're going to be miserable trying to get this because we've cut the intuition and the other pieces of it out. And when you just stay open to all the aspects of life, business, spirituality, all of the things, and weigh everything together and move forward from there. And it's not about sitting on your butt and waiting for it to happen. It's not like that, but it is being guided through the ideas and things that come through, that you're like, wait, where did I get that idea from? You kind of like look behind you and go, no, there's nobody there telling me that. Where is that coming from? Because you're getting downloads. People call them downloads. You're getting a download from a higher power that is a part of your life, that is trying to help you get where you want to go in a much better, smoother way. And a lot of times it is even faster than trying to rein it in into just brain decisions, brain moving forward kind of a thing, and locking yourself into this really rigid path.
Yeah, yeah. So when you're talking about intuition, do you feel like you are somebody who has always had it and always nurtured it? Or was there a point in time where you just said, okay, there's something else going on here, and this is my intuition, for lack of a better word. So how did you find that path? Was it normal for you?
It was normal. I didn't, early on, I didn't know it was called intuition. But even as a young child, I found myself fascinated by Native American traditions, Native American ways. And then late as I grew up, magic and, witchcraft and mythology and these things that fascinated me were all telling me about the magic of life, the energies that are there, God, goddess, whatever you call it, and was leading me to eventually discovering for real what it is. Intuition, it is, spirituality, it is tapping into something greater and bigger than myself, that knows more than I know, for crying out loud. I don't know it all. And it provides this really wonderful feeling. And I learned then to figure out, to understand, oh, this is intuition. This is my gut. And I've also come to learn recently, and it's something that I haven't really spoken about a lot, but I actually figured out a couple of years ago that some of my intuition, some of that input I'm getting, those downloads, are actually me channeling dead people who've gone on, and that I know and don't know, so to speak. Kind of like, in the book, I think it's Think and Grow Rich, the mastermind that he talks about. It's partly in his, it's in his head, so to speak, because he says you can pick people that are no longer with us to be in your mastermind, because if you tap into that, he's basically saying tap into your intuition, to things you can get from the beyond, and listen to it. And I realized that that's a part of what guides me too, is I'm getting those things from people who've gone on, but they're watching over us, and it's like, oh, hey, she needs this little tidbit of advice. Let's send that to her. And you download it as a part of something bigger than yourself again. And so, now I know that I can also channel and tap into that energy and that power and that wisdom, along with the universe, God, goddess, all of those things. It's just so big and so encompassing. And many people can do that too. And they don't even realize they can do that either.
Right, exactly. I think that's really interesting perspective, is when you can tap other energy sources. I'm going to call them energy sources, because we are all energy, and we live on this planet as energy, and we transition from this planet to a different form of energy. And if we're asking specific questions, and even asking specific beings, I guess, for information, that's a really interesting way to get information. And that's a little bit advanced for people who aren't, really in tune with their intuition, but, using your intuition, sort of your knowingness about things. That we all have intuition. And if we just choose to practice, it's a really great opportunity for growth. definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's so many ways to figure out, and everybody's different. So to tap into your intuition, there's no one way to do it. There's some main factors that are considered. You have to be able to breathe and let go and really, and it's not even so much, because like meditation can be an avenue to your intuition. And, I have a busy brain. I always have. That's just how I am. I have a busy brain. And that's why I have to really, really learn and focus to tap into my intuition. Because if not, my little brain up here is just all the time. And so I do honestly, I can struggle to meditate. I do practice every day to get better at it. But there are times where even if I'm meditating, and I just get this feeling to go ahead and let that busy brain chatter, because eventually it runs out of things to talk about, and then it comes in.
Yeah.
It's like, because even intuition and spirit and all of that are sitting there going, okay, let's get her brain clear. Let's just let it ramble and be like, okay, it's done. Okay, now here we come with the path, the journey, the answers, the whatever. And that's where your intuition can start talking to you. Is you may have to sit there for 2 minutes and just let your brain go and ramble, and then it runs out of stuff to say, and you're like, okay, now I'm ready to receive, and you receive.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really great way to put it. And I've done that through journaling. When I've got so much in my head, I'll just write it down so it gets out of my head.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Sophie, we're running out of time, but I want to make sure that people know how to get in touch with you if they want to get the book or get in touch with you for any reason. So how do we get in touch with you?
So to get in touch with me, my website is sophiezo.com, and I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and I do have a podcast on the Word of Mom Media Network, wordofmomradio.com. And then to buy the book, which please, I'd love you all to buy the book. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and it's in Walmart and Target. So just go look for it. It's a purple book. Anybody who gets to watch the video, it's a purple book. And this is actually book 2. There's a predecessor that's the Wealth Edition. And then there's 2 more coming out in the next couple of years to finish out the series. But that's where to get the book. And then, of course, once you read the book, if you want to get in touch with me after, again, my website, social media, all the easiest places to find me.
Excellent. And that'll all be in the show notes. So if you want to get in touch with her, you can look it up on the show notes. Thank you so much, Sophie, for joining us. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I look forward to talking with you again some more.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening to the Resilient Woman Leadership Podcast. Remember to take my Dragon Woman quiz at dragonwomanquiz.com. In just 2 minutes, this fun quiz will reveal your Dragon Woman and connect you to the resources so that you can leverage her power for good. And if you've enjoyed this episode, subscribe now so you can hear more inspiring stories from other resilient, wise women who will uplift and inspire you. Your review really matters to me, so please gift me back by reviewing this episode. Want more Kathryn? You can find me at energy-pathways.com.